Why does someone go for creating the tallest building of India?
Just FSI and concrete. I don't see any icons. So what was more important for me is to build an icon that मेरे घर से ये दिखता है.
What will be the cost per square feet of constructing this giant iconic skyscraper that you have in mind?
Nothing less than 18 to 20,000 rupees on carpet area.
Will home prices in Mumbai go up or go down next 3 years?
Even if I'm a developer, I do not want to fool the consumers that the pricing will go. Pricing will not go up. That is 100% for sure. Now looking at that 100 crore, 200 crore transaction, the entire lobby is charged. हम भी बेचेंगे 200 करोड़ में, हम भी बेचेंगे 100 करोड़ में. I've been hearing a lot of people quoting 2 lakh rupees on a square feet. Show me one transaction which has happened. RERA deadline is a gimmick. People put 5 years आगे का date in RERA and then show I delivered before time. Lower Parel is completely done. Thane also I feel is completely done. So I think Juhu would be the top location by 2030.
As someone whose family is in politics, are the benefits as big as people from the outside make it out to be?
We've always kept politics completely away. Till date, we have never taken any government projects.
What percentage of projects do you think will not start only?
Bandra, the new redevelopment, I don't see at least 35% projects starting in next 2 years also. And to showcase their books as powerful in the public listed space, they might have taken 8-10 projects. आप जिम दे रहे हो, मुझे लिख के चाहिए. Get everything documented black and white.
I obviously hope you succeed, but it will be tough. Has it been as tough as I made it appear in the column? In today's episode of The Real Deal, I'll be talking to a billion-dollar company that's going for India's tallest building, MICL, a company that was earlier just a contractor but is now a real estate developer. How's life as a real estate developer in Mumbai? What are the biggest opportunities and challenges? Which are the 3 big markets of Mumbai going forward? And will home prices rise or fall? Let's hear from the promoter, Manan Shah. So thank you, Manan, for coming on The Real Deal. This has been quite some time that we made it happen. Tell me, why does someone go for creating the tallest building of India?
See, honestly, for me, tallest is not just about the race for the height, like the total height. When we first conceptualized, the building was supposed to be approximately around 250, 260 meters tall. Now, the tallest buildings in India are approximately, which is got recently completed, is around 300 meters, somewhere in South Mumbai. What's more important for me is, when I was going around the city, and before we even finalized the project, I've made sure that I have studied the location very well. And I saw the city skyline. Mumbai city is beautiful though, but I don't see any icons. So what was more important for me is to build an icon which can be nation's inspiration. Secondly, what is very much important is who's creating legacy. You will not find every other day a developer coming in with the concept of making a structure which is more than 1,000 feet tall. In fact, this is India's first structure in any form, whether it's commercial, hotel or residential, which is crossing 1,000 feet height. So we always wanted to create history. If you see the wallpapers on the phone, you will always have a New York skyline, Shanghai, London, Tokyo. But have you ever seen an Indian skyline wallpaper? Probably never. Because you've always seen just FSI and concrete. What I want to create is beyond FSI, beyond concrete. Because in fact, we've left so much of FSI unconstructed to make the building more premium. We don't want to make it so dense that it does not look beautiful eventually. I wanted to do something where people take pride. In fact, they come out on their balconies and they show off my building that मेरे घर से ये दिखता है. So that's how the inspiration happened, and eventually we became the tallest also. So we are going 300 meters plus, which makes us the tallest as of today.
Okay. Most people, not just in India but outside India as well, who have gone for the tallest building, they've had a tough time. Okay. Not just the company, even the countries, that famous skyscraper curse, that the countries which are about to produce the tallest building, that tends to go into recession by the time the building is actually built. Was there any opposition to this desire to go for the tallest building? Because I can imagine with the circle that you are in, real estate, there are a lot of people with experience who have seen the downsides of it, but they can't quite appreciate the upside of it. So they tell you, just play safe. Do you have that?
So when I first started with the thought, and I expressed it, in fact to my very own close near and dear ones, I'm like, तू क्या बात कर रहा है? अपने को थोड़ी ना इंडिया का टॉलेस्ट बनाना है. लाइक इंडिया का टॉलेस्ट नहीं, बट आइकॉन तो बनाना है मुझे. Because it's my entry in South Mumbai, number one. Number two, when I did the geographic study, this building, when it's going to be ready, the visibility is so fantastic that if I'm standing at Taj Lands and at Bandra, I can see this building. If I'm standing at Palladium Mall at Lower Parel, I can see this building. If I'm standing at Vadala on the freeway, I can see this building. If you are at Harbour, you can see this building. In fact, if you are at Nhava Sheva Port, you can see this building. So the proximity is more than 20 kilometers. And if you don't go iconic, and see, you always heard this saying that nobody remembers the person who came second. So why not? You had already reached 250. I'm like, what's the problem of going 50, 60 meters more? Is there an engineering science which changed drastically? Yes, it does, but not drastically. Is the cost escalating way too high? There's definitely some escalation, but it's not going bonkers where you have to take a call that my feasibility is getting affected. So, and is the timeline getting changed? Honestly, no for me, because the number of slabs are the same. We've increased the height. We made maximum efficiency possible in terms of light and ventilation inside the house. So everybody enjoys like a 12 feet height. So, and the penthouses are having 13 feet height. The podium levels are introduced. The clubs, we increased the height. So in fact, this building's first residential floor starts on the 21st floor. So the first floor guy also gets some view of the city rather than just seeing a blank slate. When I expressed this, people started saying that, and they started showing me that poker face where you're a new guy. Why do you want to experiment with such kind of things? And I could see that they used to discuss that ये बोल रहा है क्या, ये कर सकता है. And I'm really proud to say that being an engineering company first, and we were contractors all these years, gave us that expertise and strength to go beyond the edge. And in fact, we've already completed the plinth for this India's tallest tower in less than 9 months, with triple basement and an hospital adjoining it. And we have full CC for the building till the very top. So it's not going to be like a dream world that ye banega ki nahi, that whether should I do it or should I not do it. And if you've honestly got all your cards in place, well, like the permissions, the expertise of engineering, you're spending good money on the structure, which is the most important thing, like the MEP, the RCC, and there should be no cost cutting whatsoever, because you're playing with human lives. So if these things are in place, I don't see honestly a challenge coming in.
Whenever I basically hear you, I tend to get that feeling of hearing Abhishek Lodha in 2010, 2011 type, they'd done some good volume of work previously, but they hadn't quite really made it into the big league. And then he announces Lodha World Towers and Lodha Park, which gives him the name, even though it may not have been his most profitable project. Are you okay to do this project knowing that this may not be your most profitable project like most giant skyscrapers are?
See, certain projects have to be done not just for the money, I feel. You have to create a legacy also. Today, doesn't matter if Lodha made money from World Towers or not. Today, there's a tall skyscraper standing strong, which is creating an ever-marking impression on a consumer's mind. Whoever is passing through that road, that, oh, this is a good-looking tower, this is so tall, or, XYZ. So, irrespective whether he made the money or not, but he created a legacy which is making him make more money by earning new projects. So, I mean, even if I make less money, I would be very proud of this development.
So, would it be fair for me to say that you're aiming to do India's Burj Khalifa or India's Empire State Building in that way? Is that your drive? That when somebody comes from outside, ye building dekha ki nahi?
Absolutely. So if you've seen a lot of Bollywood movies, they show Mumbai. So whenever they're showing Mumbai, you see few of the buildings which are very iconic. Like for example, Imperial Towers. Now it's a very old building now, but still you always see and you'll appreciate that this building looks good. It's something different. So when you see an Empire State Building or a Chrysler Building or Petronas Star or anything, people go to that place just to see that building once. But when have you ever heard a tourist coming in Mumbai city to go and see any building? Probably we've never seen those things. I want to create those new things in the industry.
Were there some people who told you ki Manan mat kar, you're digging your grave by going for India's tallest building?
Nothing so aggressive, but what I observed was permissions. So the most important thing in this kind of a development is the civil aviation clearance and the CC from the BMC. So why these skyscrapers were failing in the past? For two reasons. One, they were trying to build something which does not exist today in terms of the FSI also. So they've planned for 85 stories, for example, but they have FSI only of 70. With the inspiration कि मैं लेके आऊँगा ये extra FSI, नई policy develop होगी तो हम 70 का 85 करेंगे. I don't work that way. So the first thing which was very categorically clear is जो FSI आज available है, fix on that. Even if the FSI increases, we shall not build, because I don't want customers to wait that you are making now 5 stories more and my possession is delayed. My density is changed. We don't want to do that. So FSI, we locked it. We had our math done. Second, today if you see, right from environmental clearance to civil aviation to wind analysis to high power committee to IOD to CC, everything is in place. Without that, we did not launch the project, because when you launch something which you don't have approvals for, and then for some reason the approvals did not come or the approvals made you change something, you disappoint a customer. Once the customer is disappointed, he goes.
Is there a big cost difference between going for a 20-floor building versus a 80-floor building in terms of per square feet costs?
A 20-story building approximately ranges in, as per today's scenario, I don't think so anything less than, and this is just construction cost on the construction area, nothing less than 4,500 rupees to 4,000 rupees on a square foot.
Okay, this is on, so carpet area will be close to about 9,000.
Approximately, yes, because today's scenario it's become nearly 2.2 to 2.3x of the RERA carpet to built up. For an 80 stories will be at least double.
That much.
Because I'll tell you, you cannot paint an 80 stories building. You have to clad it. Now I've seen people making the mistakes of painting the 80 stories building, but I would never suggest, because you will paint it once, one rainfall, that texture paint attracts dust, and Mumbai is a dusty weather, humid weather. So it tends to stick onto your building paint facade, right? Now, are you going to expect your sale people or anybody to maintain that 80-story facade? It's impossible. Even if you have sold 50 crore worth each apartment, still they will not maintain it. That means who's going to get a bad impression is the developer. When you clad the building, that is the time when building tends to repel that dust, stains and watermarks. So you need to clad it either via some aluminium sheets, or there are many forms of cladding possible. So what we decided is to clad the building, and because we decided that it's gonna be sustainable, very easy to maintain in the future, and these kind of things add up to the costs. Also, you have to make sure that the wind load analysis, so your windows change, your grade of concrete changes, your RCC column thickness changes, your steel strength changes. So automatically these things starts getting added on. So the moment you're going more higher, the strength needs to be more stronger. Also the wind pressure, especially in the South Mumbai side, because there are two side oceans which hits the building. So your building needs to move also. So that elasticity needs to be there. And accordingly, what happens is your cost keeps on escalating.
If I understand you right, what will be the cost per square feet of constructing this giant iconic skyscraper that you have in mind per square feet?
We are expecting nothing less than 18 to 20,000 rupees on carpet area.
Per square feet.
Because there's some escalation which you might see across time. It's a 4-year long journey. So the steel might go up, the copper, aluminium, there are multiple factors which impact. So I don't think so anything less than 18 to 20,000. But all of these factors we had considered even before we started the building.
Have there been any projects of yours where MICL has posted a loss in real estate?
God's been kind, nothing as of yet. And one major reason why we've believed that we've not made any loss as of in any projects is the way we calculate before taking up the project is, say for example, the price in the market is going on 50,000 rupees on a square foot. I'll always consider in my working 20% less. So whatever the market is currently giving the price, 20% less would be my feasibility report. So even if the market goes down, still we would be making the desired returns which we have calculated on the Excel sheet. And if the market goes up, that's the bonus side of it.
So basically, Manan doesn't do it the typical builder way where you overestimate revenues but you underestimate costs. Yours is the reverse way.
Always, because a lot of times I've seen developers when I meet my other fellow friends and all, "Arey, price ye ho jayega." That's great. I mean, I always hope that the prices go up because it's more profitable for us. But anticipating that the prices will definitely go up and then bidding for the project and overbidding and giving up your margin, that's not our style. So I would do less projects, but I would always focus on the bottom line, which is being more profitable, because being more profitable gives us a better cash flow. And because of those cash flows, we've been able to be debt free all our life. So historically and till date, we've always been debt free.
So the common perception, I'm sure you must have heard it many times, is कि builders बहुत पैसा कमाते हैं. Okay, how true is it?
So builders definitely पैसा कमाते हैं, and I'll say that अगर builders पैसा नहीं कमाएंगे तो ये city नहीं बनेगी. But हाँ, बहुत पैसा कमाते हैं. There were times earlier, and the fact is there were times where developers did make money in a lot of other factors, where a lot of other FSI was available for free. The balconies were free, they used to charge. The lobbies were free, they used to charge. Parkings were allowed onto the floor, got converted into living rooms. These are hard facts, like much before I entered the industry. And that time, yes, the margins was that, and that's created that perception that builders बहुत पैसा कमाते हैं. Margins, yes, are good in the industry, of course, and that's what we are here for. But it's not exorbitant how it used to be. Secondly, there's too much competition now. So if I held bound on my price, some other guy is there who's maybe like slightly larger player than us, or maybe even a smaller player than us, who's willing to do the cut because he has to sell a lot more stock than us. So that's where the margin sometimes gets impacted.
Because I've always found it very interesting that I speak to, because of the type of job I have, to different stakeholders, and I get such diverse opinions on the same subject. Okay, the buyer says builders बहुत पैसा कमाते हैं, हम सबको लूटते हैं, this and that. The analyst says builder तो पैसा बनाता ही नहीं है, क्योंकि just when I look at the margin, the statements and all, he's not making money. They keep coming to the market for a QIP, for a fundraise, and so on and so forth. And the builder says pretty much somewhere in between, like the version you said, that we make money, but it's not the exorbitant.
So I'll tell you why that perception is there. For example, you went to buy a house, right? Now you just asked me a question: what is the per square feet construction cost? I told you it's 4,500 rupees on construction area for a average size building, and 10,000 rupees for a skyscraper. Now you will come to me and you will see the price. I'm quoting 1 lakh rupees on square feet. So what will you think? I'm making 90,000 rupees on square foot. Now a layman does not understand rent, corpus, interest, premiums, and there is more than double, almost, not even double, in fact I would say 4x the cost of construction sometimes, which makes the total ticket size of the apartment. So the per square feet cost is not just the construction cost, it's the total value added. So that means basically that 1 lakh rupee house is ideally costing a developer also 70, 75, 80,000 rupees on square feet. That's what consumers don't know. To answer your analyst side of it, now the problem is, again, like I said, people are overbidding in the anticipation of the price shooting up, but lot of times the price does not shoot up, the cost shoots up. and the margin reduces, and that's why the analysts are seeing that developers तो कुछ पैसा कमाता ही नहीं है. So you have to be in between, that you don't overcharge a consumer, because once you overcharge one customer, are you able to sustain that price? Will you be able to charge the same thing to every customer? And if everybody is willing to pay, yes, your margins are definitely flying.
This thing about overbidding, I think the entire market is now come to that very definitive conclusion that we are in this oversupply zone and bidding has gone out of control. Some listed names have already said that I'm slowing down my bidding heavily. What's the end game in this? क्या होगा अगले 3 साल? Because the consequences of this overbidding.
See, when Mumbai before 15 years started peaking, everybody got a fear that how will so much stock be absorbed? But it did get absorbed over time. We are right now in the same phase because after 10 years, the industry is peaking. Post-COVID, if you see, the industry has been peaking. What's most important is developers should understand to sustain the peak. The graph cannot continuously keep on going up and up and up every year and year. There will be slowdowns. That is the exact time when you should know your cash flow very, very well. And you've planned your cash flow for these situations, that even if the sales slows down, you should continuously go on constructing, because that is the exact time you will be able to charge your premium to the consumers that my buildings are not stalled, I am still going on irrespective whether you buy or not. That's a simple strategy which I have been utilizing since past 10 years. Whether you buy or not, building will go on. And because the building is going on, people are having that trust and faith that मेरे नहीं लेने से यहाँ पे कुछ होने नहीं वाला है. So rather I buy now or later in fact the price is going to be higher only. So rather buy with this developer right now because he is going to deliver me. So like we've delivered almost 21 projects up till now. Every project is delivered before time and way before time than the average industry standards. I'm not even comparing the RERA deadline. RERA deadline is a gimmick. People put 5 years आगे का date in RERA and then show I delivered before time. I'm talking about real timeline, and we are delivering before that real timeline also. So that will create a legacy. So when this oversupply will hit, when every other developer is in the market selling luxury or affordable or whatever segment they are operating into, if your construction stalls, you are done.
So what do you think will happen now? Do you see a lot of that happening? That's a clear sign I get now. Now I'm on the field all the time, and one of my quirks is that I keep noticing buildings and their status. Okay, and I notice the pace in so many buildings has just slowed down drastically. जो 3 slab पे था 8 महीने पहले वो अभी 5th slab पे. What happens?
The reason is again the same thing. Those developers might have anticipated a price in mind, that I will be selling at this price. So initially to sustain the cash flow, what typically developers does is certain stock they sell it at a cheaper price. Then they will try to hold the stock. In the anticipation, now I will charge a premium. Market is not willing to pay the premium. What will you do? You will have to sustain the growth. So what will you do? Again, you will start selling at a cheaper price because you will have to run your cash flows. That is exactly where people are making the mistakes. Why do you have to take extra projects when you don't have the capacity to develop with your own money? You have to pay the banks the interest, the society the rents. So your outflows are continuously going on. Your laborers you have to pay, your contractors you have to pay. So continuously you're paying off the money to everyone, and customers are not willing to pay you that premium. And just because you anticipated that this is going to be the right price, but market has always given you the signs that this is not the right price. I've been hearing a lot of people quoting 2 lakh rupees on a square feet. Show me one transaction which has happened. We never work on these bogus numbers. We never quote such random figures because I know Mumbai has still not reached that price point where you can quote also 2 lakh rupees on a square feet. Yes, 1,50,000, 1,25,000 transactions have also happened, minuscule transactions, but they have happened. These are realistic pricing. Asking 2 lakhs, reducing 50,000 rupees in negotiations, that is completely the wrong decision because that shows your strength is not there. The price that you're trying to command is a fake price. That means whenever a customer will come, he will have in mind, I am going to negotiate 60,000-70,000 rupees on square feet. Now even if I'm buying a 5,000 square feet house, 70,000 rupees on square feet negotiations, 35 crores. What are we talking about? So that means you have to sustain the right price, quote the right price, and then stick on to it. If you don't have confidence on the price that you're quoting, why quote that pricing? Just to fool the customers and pamper their egos that I negotiated 10,000, 20,000 rupees on square feet. I feel these are the wrong tactics which developer uses, and that spoils the industry names. And then consumer starts to feel that every other developer will do the same thing. So a lot of times we get a customer that your neighboring developer is negotiating 20,000 rupees on square feet, and I have a very simple answer. Please transact over there. Why aren't you transacting? Why are you sitting with me?
What did the customer say?
Because I want to buy here. Yeah, I feel the slowdown will come in, especially when every developer has started to go beyond their capacity in terms of money, in terms of their construction capabilities also. I am seeing a lot of developers going beyond their ability to construct. They might probably have 10 crore rupees in their bank account and they've taken projects worth 50 crore and 60 crores. In the anticipation, market is very good. Sales will happen. I'll sell 30 crore stock. 5 crore I'll put from my pocket. 5 crore bank will pay. Building बन गया. ऐसा होता नहीं है.
So basically, same mistakes that earlier happened in a new way, it's going to happen again now.
In fact, I'm seeing it happening bigger. If developers are not cautious, this is the right time to be cautious because, see, I'll tell you, every industry has a surge and a demand. You see cars, right? Post-COVID, the car industry shot up amazingly. Cars were on wait list, whether you're asking for a Maruti Suzuki Swift or you're asking for a Rolls-Royce Phantom. Everything was on a wait list. Why? Because the supply was not there and the consumers had not bought. So that means there are actually consumers waiting who have not transacted. In real estate, lot of these buyers have already transacted. When have you ever heard a 200 crore apartment buyer buying another 200 crore apartment in next 2-3 years only? I mean, these are one-off transactions which they ideally do in their lifetime because they're trying to build a family estate, which is like, okay, I'll give this house to my daughter or my son, या मैं मेरे बच्चों के लिए एक लेगेसी बना के जा रहा हूँ. बट हर 2 साल पे किसी को सुना 200 करोड़ का कर लिया, 100 करोड़ का कर लिया. नाउ लुकिंग एट दैट 100 crore 200 crore ट्रांजैक्शन, द एंटायर लॉबी इज चार्ज्ड. हम भी बेचेंगे 200 करोड़ में, हम भी बेचेंगे 100 करोड़ में. दैट्स वेरी गुड. इट्स वेरी गुड टू बी कॉन्फिडेंट. बट that same 100 crore का customer is going to 10 places and everybody feels he is my customer.
Pipeline अच्छा है, बहुत लोग आ रहे हैं मेरे पास.
तो वही pipeline सबके पास है. So be cautious when you're making something out of the box, especially which the market is not demanding. I always make one thing very clear to my architecture team and my business development team. Don't make things which you want to make. Make things which consumer wants. The day you give people what they want, you will be successful than the competition. I am seeing lot of times developers को खुद को satisfy करने के लिए I'll make 1700 carpet 3 BHK. Okay, that's great. It's a fantastic apartment. 3 BHK, 1700 carpet, big living, dining, big bedrooms, walk-ins. Do you have consumers for that? Because in India, the thought process is very simple. If it is 1000 square feet to 1200 square feet, it's a 3 bed. Beyond 13, 14, 1500, it has to be a 4 bed. Because when they speak to their fellow friends and family, अच्छा 3 BHK में रहता है क्या? He might have a 1200 carpet 4 BHK. He is staying in a 1500 carpet 3 BHK. But the 4 BHK guy is slightly... So, you have to be cautious on what you build because India is a sentimental market.
In this entire scheme of things, you spoke about micro market study that you do. Manan, in your view, we are in 2024 now, the ending of it. When you look at 2030, what would be the top 3 locations of Mumbai and why?
Top 3, I have always felt certain pockets which are actually done rather than I would say sustaining is also very important, but Lower Parel is completely done. I mean, I don't see anything less than 10,000 apartments being developed over there. And I don't see consumers like, imagine a location not planned for residential, a completely, like a labor and industrial hub once upon a time, now completely transformed into residential. The roads, the bridges are not prepared to host 10,000, 20,000 apartments in one shot in next 5 years. So I see that completely oversaturated and that's done. Thane also I feel is completely done. Too much developments, empty, vacant buildings, ready to move in. Thane is also completely done, I feel. One location that will do very well, where I've always seen a good control on the developments coming up and supply is Juhu. So I think Juhu would be the top location by 2030, because even right now I see minuscule developments coming up over there. Majority is owned by HNIs and Bollywoods and businessmen, and these are primarily large bungalows, and I don't think so they would want to convert their bungalow into a residential complex. So that will always be a supply crunch, which will make the location be the top notch.
Okay, so basically Manan is bearish. He's skeptical on markets like Lower Parel. He's bullish on markets like Juhu.
Yeah.
What's your call on a market like Bandra? It's a high-profile market of Bombay now.
There will be a lot of supply of luxury again, because after the CRZ going away in Bandra, there's a lot of development which has picked up in Bandra. So I think there'll be a supply, oversupply in a way in Bandra also. If the developers are not cautious now by not taking every building which is left in Bandra, I feel there'll be an oversupply in Bandra also.
But haven't they already done that? Like every building now in Bandra has already gone for it, or is just at that bidding stage?
So two things I have seen. One is they've bid and they've not won the bid yet. And second is a lot of developers have already won the bid, but are they willing to start? Because and are they going to start?
You don't think that will happen?
I don't see that happening. Not for all, but a lot of developments I've seen will not start. In fact, they've already started terminating deals. A lot of societies have come to us that I had appointed this reputed developer, now I don't want to work with him because he's not starting. For a very simple reason, his viability is at stake now, because he bidded, say example, 80% additional area where his viability was not more than 50%. But he just went overboard because he wanted to win that project, showcase the market, maybe that I have such a large portfolio and maybe have some other collections.
What percentage of projects do you think will not start only?
At least 35% of Bandra specifically. Lower Parel is already up, so that's a different market. But Bandra, the new redevelopment, I don't see at least 35% projects starting in next 2 years also at least. BKC. BKC has always been a commercial hub and a hotel lobby hub. But the spaces at the end of BKC, where the new Geo Mall is developed now, the opposite side of it, if you see, there are 4-5 societies, larger plots. Every plot is like almost 2 acres. In fact, we've already taken a development over there, and it's a proper BKC location, because inside BKC it's all MMRDA and commercial. So their residential developments have not been there. This zone on the other side, Karanagar side, there are a lot of other players who've already developed. So this is a good resi area. I see BKC coming up in terms of connectivity because of bullet train, because of Geo Mall, Geo Convention. A lot of good infrastructure will be available in next 5 years. So BKC is definitely the hotspot. So South Bombay side, I'll see a lot of generalization in pricing happening, where earlier only certain pockets used to command 1 lakh rupees on a square feet. I feel 1 lakh will become like a standardized price. So I see a price hike going up for sure, but it becoming standardizing right from Malabar to Nepean to Bridge Candy to Pedder Road, everything coming up. So certain pockets which are fairly high, like some people I have seen quoting 1.5 lakh, 1,25,000 rupees on carpet. Those will come down because of the oversupply. So certain pockets will come down, certain pockets will pick up, and that will start becoming neutral. Like eastern side, if you see, right from Thane to Vikroli Bhandup, I'll see that market also saturating over time, because Thane is again an oversupplied market. Lot of large developers, lot of large developments, and still more than 60% stock is unsold. So
which will be the most expensive location of Mumbai in 2030? One location.
One location, according to me, would always be the oceanfront location. History has always spoken right from Marine Drive to... but Marine Drive comes in heritage. So Marine Drive cannot be developed. At least as of now, I don't see any development because it's under heritage present. But locations like, I would say, Worli Seaface, Carter Road will be expensive, because there is nothing going to come in front of that. Even if the coastal road has come, it's just a road, so there is no structure obstructing your oceanic views. So ocean will always be the king of Mumbai. Ocean will always be the commander of price.
As someone whose family is in politics, does it become very easy for you to get your way through? We hear all these stories about certain developers getting a big advantage and certain getting penalized. Are the benefits as big as people from the outside make it out to be?
For me, no, specifically 2 reasons. We've always kept politics completely away from my company. So dad's almost retired. In fact, he's chairman emeritus, so he's not in the active position at all in the company. And we've purposely done it because I don't want tomorrow people to claim that because he's a politician, we're getting undue advantages. Yes, in terms of respect in the government authorities, in terms of fast tracking certain things, I would see that playing a bit of a role. But we definitely have relations from the past also because we've been doing developments all these years. So, that relation also comes into the picture where they know that we are doing straightforward development. We are not asking for any undue favors. And I am very, very cautious that because my family comes from a political background, I cannot even afford to think of doing something out of the way. So I have never thought of doing those things. And in terms of fast tracking things, it does help in a way, but I feel more my team is well equipped enough to get the permissions sorted. And we never want those kind of permission which does not exist. So why waste time getting certain things approved or getting a bill passed or getting a policy passed? I don't waste time doing those things. If the policy is existing and the project is feasible, I would rather deploy my mind on creating a beautiful looking building rather than working on the policy and getting some undue advantages from it.
Is dealing with government as tough as many builders make it out to be? That it's a complex maze where they say you spend a humongous amount of energy just in tackling that beast of dealing with government agencies. Is it as complex and tough?
Yes, it is complex. It is difficult for us because there are a lot of times certain permissions involved which can be taken on a later stage. I'll give you for example, and or either it can be a one window solution for us. What happens is we have to take fire NOC, we have to take environmental NOC, we have to take IOD, then we have to pay premium, then we have to demolish, then we take CC, right? Now, the environment guy does not talk to the fire guy does not talk to the environment guy. We have to make sure both are satisfied. Of course, it's for the safety of the consumers and ecological benefits, and I understand, but why create complex policies which defy each other's saying? Why not have a standard and single window processing system? In certain other things, SRA, MHADA, lot of other things, so many desks, so many departments. In MHADA, you have building proposal, which is a separate department. Then you have another department where you get permissions of IOD. Again, you finish here, then you go here. I am saying, why have the hassle of getting the builder to go door to door and wasting so much time? Average building permissions takes 1 year, even today, from the start of conceptualization to CC. So, if you are having people take so much time, I would say give a single clearance. My file goes to XYZ thing. Let the government officials coordinate with each other that this is what we want and give us one single feedback. We will incorporate everything.
Okay, now away from this into your buildings. You're a listed company. I've noticed in the last year particularly, a lot of interest has come in MICL as a company. Do you enjoy the process of being listed? Many developers, they like the valuation, but they find the hassles of dealing with very pokey investigative analysts and journalists too tricky.
See, when you want to do some things which is wrong, you always feel that these people are poking into your private space. We've always been a transparent company, a transparent book. We got listed in 2010. It's been 14 years. I don't see any complication in being listed. Yes, there are chapters where compliances increases, like we have to give quarterly results. There's an AGM which happens. We do analyst calls. We have to meet investors. We have to meet funds. A lot of these things does come into the picture, which is a bylaw by SEBI. But it depends how many meetings you want to do, whether you want to meet or not. Like, it's not compulsorily that you go and do a roadshow. But if you do, it's good for your company. So compliances increases. But, and yes, it has in fact benefited us that I don't have to prove anyone who I am. My book is open. How much am I making? You know the exact figures. Where am I making from? You know the exact figures. What is the debt situation? You know the exact figures. How many projects are there in the company? What is upcoming? What is the pipeline? Investor presentation. Everything gets uploaded onto the website of SEBI, and we give disclosures to BSE also. So I feel that has helped us in winning and bagging more projects, in fact, because people feel a lot more comfortable. Like whenever I go to society meetings and I meet the members, they're like, "Yeah, we've seen your books." So I'm very happy that I don't have to prove him that I've got this balance sheet, I've got this bank balance, etc., etc. I'll complete your project on time.
As your company being listed, you had a disclosure out some months back about acquiring a prime plot at Pali Hill. That Pali Hill is being redeveloped all across the board from you, K. Raheja, Asher, Rustamji. This building is slightly more high profile. I won't say it's special. I'll say it's high profile for sure because it has a celebrated Bollywood actor Amir Khan. What's the desire of doing something in Pali Hill?
So our journey towards real estate is moving towards uber luxury. Pali Hill has always been dominantly high-profile businessmen, maybe some actors, and the high net worth individuals. So Pali Hill was a location on our radar since a very long time, and this opportunity came in as a redevelopment. Honestly, when we took up the tender, I did not even know that there's some Bollywood actor existing over here, and the interest was honestly not because of the Bollywood actor. The interest was because I loved the location. It shares wall with the Avabai Petit School. So our apartments from the right very first floor will have a beautiful green views and then ocean views on the higher floor. So the location is what struck me more.
Okay. Last few questions on this. Now, how big are you at this point in terms of top line? Where do I see MICL going in 2030 in terms of top line, your business model?
So our business model honestly is more towards bottom line. We've always focused on profitability, PAT, more than the top line. Like, because if you see last to last year, the top line was around 1800 crores and we did around 258 crores of PAT. And last year we had a top line of I think around nearly around 1000 crores, but we did 300 crores of PAT. So because
300 crores of PAT will actually make sure that that MICL is more profitable than many of the top developers who have a top line which is 2x or 3x also.
exactly. So we never run behind top lines because if you're selling 10,000 crore of stock also and you're just making 100 crores, I mean, you're working for the banks, maybe, or you're working for maybe just to sustain in the industry. Our focus has always been growth, and because we're debt free, our cash flow has been far more positive. Like I'll tell you, we've invested around 1,000 crores of our own liquidity into real estate projects. We are one of the very, very few developers in the country who's deployed 1,000 crore of its own wealth into its own projects. And historically till date we've been debt free. So we've always focused on bottom line. So in next 2030, I am seeing upwards of 1,000 crore PAT comfortable on a year-on-year basis going forward
So
post 2030.
So you're saying profits can rise more than 3x.
Yes, because the kind of projects that we've secured, and like I said, conservative sale pricing during feasibility, maximizing the sale output when you're selling it, value engineering the costs, and being a developer, contractor, and a financer, all three put together, we definitely make much more healthier margins than the average industry standards.
Because one of the other rumors in the stock market is that possibly if things work out, MICL could be like a smaller version of the Adani Group in Mumbai, where their competency in execution is then fully supported by government support. Do you think that's
not the route? Of course, you would like to be successful, and I would be very happy.
Are stock markets getting too excited about MICL, do you think, after the Maharashtra elections?
They are excited, and it's a sentimental norm because consumers have always seen our family close, whether it's a shareholder or our customers also. They know us very well. Dad's been into politics. So, of course, people tend to connect two things that, okay, because he's in government now, a lot of things might change. But if you see the growth journey, even before he was into politics, the company was growing well. And even if he's in politics, till date, we have never taken any government project. So, yes, conquering and growing is definitely anybody's ambition. So, becoming Adani in terms of growth scale, yes, definitely I'm more than happy and take it as a compliment. But adding government things and getting the power because he is into the system is not I would want to be doing it. I would rather stay slightly away from those things because eventually you don't create a legacy. People just start seeing you that you've been granted that as a favor.
So right now, would it be fair for me to say by 2028, 2029, MICL will be doing only premium luxury
Currently, the projects that we have is mid-luxury to uber-luxury. After 3 years, maybe if the trend changes and the luxury falls, I mean, we've always been very, very elastic about changing our development models. So, like, we have project going on right now at Daisar also, which is 1 BHK starting around, I think, 95, 98 lakhs. And we've got something coming up at Pali Hill also, which might be, upwards of 30, 35 crores. So these kind of things are there, but I would not want to fixate on something specific only because it's Mumbai, it's very dynamic. Sometimes you've got a lot of search coming in from outside cities who cannot have 30, 40 crore ka house. They want 2, 3 crore is the epitome. So we would cater to all audiences.
Will home prices in Mumbai go up or go down next 3 years?
Next 3 years, I think Mumbai pricing has already gone up. And I would like to give you an honest and straightforward answer. Even if I'm a developer, I do not want to fool the consumers that the pricing will go. Pricing will not go up. That is 100% for sure. For a couple of reasons, there's too much of oversupply coming in. So the prices will sustain. But I don't see, the pockets which have saturated way too high for no reason. Like certain pockets, we've seen people quoting unnecessary pricing, but transactions not happening. Consumers will understand that this is a bogus price getting quoted. Like at Bandstand, I'm seeing people quoting 1,50,000 rupees. But Bandstand, the transactions earlier have always happened at 75, 80,000. In fact, there is no development in Bandstand. Now the new developments are coming up. But like me, you, there are 10 other developers standing in the queue selling their own stock. So oversaturated markets will stabilize at a good price, but yes, it will not be cheaper. And those golden days where you're seeing 65,000, 70,000 pricing, you will see a lakh and beyond pricing, but stabilize. I don't see it further falling down because it's not affordable anymore to the developers also. The kind of biddings what developers are doing, 100% additional area, 120% additional area, left, right, center developers have bidded at random locations and random quotes, honestly, without seeing, again with the same philosophy, pricing badega. Whoever is taken in that thought के pricing बढ़ेगा, everybody will fail, project will stall, काम वहीं पे रुक जाएगा और जिसने ढंग से calculation किया है, he will conquer and rule the market.
What percentage of projects are the ones that you think are these vulnerable projects that buyers should be cautious of? In terms of percentage, the overall radius?
Bandra market, they should be very cautious. Bandra is something where people are overbidding for sure.
Ashu Rahej has said that Bandra is the lower Parel of 2024 in terms of what we saw the excess supply of luxury. The same thing is happening in Bandra.
I don't deny it one bit. I fully agree to it. Because, like I said, but there'll be a little bit of a difference because Lower Parel has larger land parcels. Bandra, what will happen eventually is, though developers might have taken a lot of projects, it will not start because viability will not be there. So just to make people a fool and to showcase their books as powerful in the public listed space, they might have taken 8, 10 projects, but they will not be able to start even one project because even he knows when he's bidding today that the viability is not there at this price. And if he goes to sell in today's market, the price is not there where he'll be viable at.
So why is he doing it?
Inflation of price, inflation of book, sustaining the price, sustaining the valuations.
I was seeing one of the books of one developer from outside Bombay who bid at close to Pali Hill for a society, and when I was running the maths, his break-even came to be 88,000 rupees per square feet, a non-sea facing plot, though a sea view plot.
Okay.
My immediate hunch in this case is that if your break-even is 88,000 per square feet, do you have any margin for error? You have to assume that all the positives fall in place together.
Like if you really want to make money, you need at least 20,000 rupees per square feet margin on an 88,000 rupees. That means you have to sell at 1,08,000 rupees on carpet. And if the sea facing plots are selling at that price, which is like a true sea view, and this is like a funnel sea view,
bathroom se thoda dikhta hai.
This will not sustain because consumers, see, when you want to spend anything beyond 5 crores, no, I have seen customer very, very picky because it's not his need of the hour, it's his upgrade. So whenever you're buying a new car, you're buying a new watch, you're buying a new shoe, would you compromise even one bit. अरे ये color नहीं मिल रहा है तो चलो ना ये ले लेते हैं. You won't, right? So you're तो buying a house, and every now and then you don't buy a house, so you would want to fulfill all your wishes. And till that time that does not tick, the consumer is in the market. The brokers will inflate the entire market with that same consumer. Developer starts treating him as a buyer, and everybody's books is showing he's a potential customer. All of a sudden, one customer has created the hype कि 10 कस्टमर घूम रहे मार्केट में, मार्केट तो बहुत पॉजिटिव है. वही कस्टमर को 10 ब्रोकर अप्रोच कर रहे हैं. सो बी कॉशियस अबाउट दोज थिंग्स बिकॉज you don't even eventually know whether that customer will transact also or not. वो सिर्फ घूम रहा है.
He's shopping.
He's just looking at the moment. You never know when he'll transact. So in that anticipation, price बढ़ा दी, एक गर्मी create हो गई. हाँ, everything is good, everything is hot. चलो चलो ये सब.
Okay. For a buyer at this point, if he has to buy a home, what are the 3 red flags, 3 signals that should tell him don't buy over there, in your view?
Number 1, how desperate the developer is. Is it coming with too many schemes? I always see that as a first red flag, because if the thing is selling well, you never need schemes, because there's always a wait listing. When you ever saw a Patek Philippe watch getting sold on schemes, it's on wait listing for 5 years, 10 years, right? Because the product is so phenomenal, the legacy is so good, people are wanting to wait. So if there are too many schemes, see it as a red flag. घर के साथ में यूरोप ट्रिप फ्री, घर के साथ में सोना फ्री. मुझे यूरोप ट्रिप जाना है, मैं पैसा खर्चा करके जा सकता हूँ, क्यों यूरोप ट्रिप देनी है मुझे? घर खरीदने आया हूँ मैं, सोना नहीं या ट्रिप पे नहीं जाने. That's one red flag. Second, who is selling you the house? So you're going through a channel partner, broker, or your word of mouth friend or whoever it is. How well is he informed about the development? Lot of times there are 100 channel partners selling you the thing, but they themselves don't know half of the things. So can you trust the source through which you're going? So that's a second thing which you have to be cautious. Third, never ever buy a property without visiting the actual site and seeing it yourself. Because you can see anything onto Google Map, you can see anything onto these drone shoots which are very in right now and famous. You can see anything onto a brochure, but when you go to site, you go physically, see it, check your neighborhood, like it, and then buy it. So you'll never be disappointed. If any developer is hiding any information, it's a straight big red flag for me. I visited so many projects recently, high-end developers, reputed people, large developments. I don't even know what amenities planned in the clubhouse. There is a clubhouse, 1 lakh square feet of a club. Okay, very good, 1 lakh square feet. What is the size of my gym? So we don't have that information to share. Okay. Whether the gym is having equipment which suits my needs, like I am into functional and boot camp training, for example. Are you going to give me that? So that information we don't have. Okay. That is also not available. How many gyms are there? Not available. So if that means whatever gimmick he's creating in the experience center by showing you that fancy show flat and those fancy model and walkthrough, it's a gimmick. Because if I don't have the relevant information, please leave. I would always urge people, do not transact. If you're not satisfied with 100% information, and can the developer give it to you in writing, get it part of your agreement. आप जिम दे रहे हो, मुझे लिख के चाहिए. आप मार्बल दे रहे हो, मुझे लिख के दो. आप टाइल्स दे रहे हो, क्या साइज की टाइल्स दोगे? वो मैट है कि ग्लॉसी है, लिख के दो. Get everything documented black and white tomorrow, and the moment you know that person is not willing to give it to you in black and white, it's a red flag.
Okay, so the third point I think is the most interesting. That always go to the plot where the building will come up. Especially in these large township projects where they show you in a big map, आपका building यहाँ पे होगा,
but आपको जाने नहीं देंगे वहाँ पे, because of construction hazard, whatever is there. But I would still say कि take some time out, try taking permissions, go with the engineer, wearing your safety boots, helmet and jacket and everything, जाके आओ. Take the vibes of that plot. Are you feeling positive? Are you liking it? Whether it's the right fit for you. That's most important.
One case, right now, since you mentioned that to me, there's one project in Thane where a buyer told me, a big township project, where he was shown the entire plot on the screen. He bought the apartment, the building got OC, he moved in, and he realized a few feet away from the building is a nala.
Now the nala might be, in the 3D rendering, it might be covered or hidden.
Yes. So then he was like, I took this thing keeping some things in mind now because it smells so much, I don't know what to do.
And eventually what happens is poor consumers, why do you want to cheat consumers like this? एक कंज्यूमर को चीट करोगे 100 कंज्यूमर्स भागेंगे एंड एक कंज्यूमर को सच बोल के जाने दोगे वो 100 लेकर आएगा.
Okay. There's a big discrepancy I find between how a common person views you, not you, but builder community versus how builders view themselves. And I get the vibe that consumers think of builders as being all powerful. But when I talk to many developers, especially the top ones, I always feel that there's this bit of vulnerability that they have, that because the stakes are so high, any small deviation can bring the entire house crumbling down. Which one do you think is true? Are builders as powerful or are they as vulnerable as I feel they are?
See, builders have to be powerful. If we are not powerful, we become vulnerable. And because we are attached to so many stakeholders, we need to claim the leadership and throne position. Because if we don't claim that position, say if I'm redeveloping a slum and one slum dweller has wasted interest and I don't be powerful in front of him, he will stall the entire construction. So we have to be powerful also, but at the same time we are vulnerable.
When we met the first time, after you announced your tallest star of India in Tardev, I wrote my money control column where I actually described that I basically hope you succeed, but it'll be tough. It's been almost a year. Has it been as tough as I made it appear in the column?
Honestly, no, because that time also, I had to be a little more silent because I am always a person who loves to prove first and then speak about it. So, like you mentioned, it's going to be tough and you're coming out new. It's been, like you said, a year. I'm already out of the plinth. The 4 floors already up. The existing rehab building is up almost 20 stories. So, we've been having a good time. There's no hurdles. And like I said, because it's organized and planned well in terms of the permissions and the cash flow, the sales automatically becomes honestly a byproduct. Where in other case developers, the sales is the primary thing which impacts the overall criteria of the project. For us, because these two things were planned well, the sale is a byproduct. Irrespective whether my stock sells or not in the project, I'm going full pace.
Okay. So sales have been on track as per you expected?
Yeah, sales have been very good.
Okay. It's been as per expectations, below expectations, better than expectations?
Consumers take slightly more time because it's an expensive product in terms of the overall ticket size. But it's not gone beyond our expectations. They're just taking more visits. So I had not expected people to come like 7 times and 8 times before they transact. We thought that they might come 3 times or 4 times maximum and they'll do the transaction. But here it's taking slightly more time. I also understand because they are also saying that how will I buy on the 80th floor, whether what will happen. So like a normal consumer has their own doubts, and as a layman, we are solving them, satisfying them to the fullest, and then only we are also transacting. Because even I don't want today he transacts under a panic situation and under pressure, and tomorrow he comes and cancels the apartment. I would rather tell him कि sir आप 2 हफ्ता और ले लो, 2 हफ्ते बाद transact करेंगे, get satisfied.
Okay, Manan, this is my favorite round, and it's a rapid fire. You have to be candid about your thoughts, what you like, what you don't like. The first word that comes to your mind when I say builder?
Innovator.
What's the first word that comes to your mind when I say Oberoi?
Legacy.
Lodha.
Marketer.
Godrej.
Trust.
Rustamji.
Bullish.
Hiran Nani.
Town planner.
Online, offline brokers. What's the future?
Offline more because they are part of your daily routine and they come physically show you the things. They are part of your paperwork to inspection of the apartment. So offline for sure.
Which is the best building in Mumbai according to you?
I'd visited 10 years back, Palais Royal. I don't know what the situation is right now, but 10 years back, that was the most beautiful building for me. The kind of planning what they had done, I think that was a landmark in itself.
What's the one location Manan would like to stay in, besides his current location?
Juhu.
What's the one location you would never want to stay in?
Lower Parel.
Between Thane, Mumbai and Navi Mumbai, the 3 markets, which one are you most bullish on?
Mumbai always.
Okay. On that note, Manan, thank you for coming on The Real Deal.
Thank you.